Welcome back, everyone. This is Austin here at 2FC Tactical on our From the Vault series. Going to dive into a couple of Winchesters we have here in front of us. Now, these are both 1886 Winchester rifles, and it's from famed firearm designer John Moses Browning, and it kind of put Winchester at the forefront of lever action rifles, especially when it came to big bore. So let's dive right in. All right, everyone, we are going to dive into the Winchester 1886 today, the famed John Moses Browning design, the lever gun that would ultimately lead to the conquering of the West, a design that is still used in its lever form in the Winchester 1894 to this day, which is quite popular out here in the Midwest. So very exciting to see where it all kind of began. But before we do that, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think of the video and what you think of our previous videos. Also, if you have something historical you would like to be featured here on our From the Vault series, reach out to us. Make sure that we know about it, and we'll find a way to acquire it and put this on the video. We're always excited to explore historical firearms. That's something that we're all about here at 2FC. Now, diving into the Winchester 1886, now this certainly was not Winchester's first lever design. They had the 1873 and 1876 pattern rifles. They had the toggle-linked design, of the lever that you would see in the earlier Henry rifle. They decided that it was time to take a look at that mechanism and update it. So you got to think back to what's going on in this era. It's 1886. Frontiersmen are pushing into the prairie and pushing out west. We're seeing bigger game like elk, bear, and buffalo, of course. And the toggle link mechanism could not handle large bore calibers, higher pressure calibers. It had some weaknesses in the receiver and limitations in that design. And with bigger game, hunters and frontiersmen were looking for larger, more powerful cartridges that they could go after this game with. So Winchester would turn to a guy out of Utah by the name of John Moses Browning. I'm sure you've heard of him. If you've listened to our channel before, you definitely have heard his name come up, and asked them to update their lever action guns, mainly to take larger bore calibers. And this is what he came up with and would now be the basis of all Winchester lever actions moving forward. So he got rid of the toggle link design just because it wasn't strong enough to handle the larger cartridges that they want, and he updated the receiver to make it a lot thicker, a lot stronger compared to the 1876 or the 1873 rifle. This particular rifle is in 35-56. So this is a bigger bore, as you can see just by the sheer barrel. This one here is in 33 Winchester, and we'll get into the differences between these two here in a minute. But he decided that, in order to take these pressures, I'm going to have to thicken the receiver. I'm going to have to come up with a completely new design for the lever action, which is what he did. And eventually, this is what he came out with. And Winchester was so impressed, and you got to realize, John Browning was pretty young at this point in time, that they immediately bought the patent and put this in production in 1886. This happened over just a couple of years, a very quick turnaround. And people loved it. The 1886 is synonymous with the West. Theodore Roosevelt, one of our own presidents, loved the Winchester 1886. It was known as rugged, and it was known as reliable, and it had an enduring legacy, I should say. And what do I mean by that last part, the enduring legacy, is because the receivers and stuff were reinforced, what would happen in the late 1880s, early 1890s is we would go away from black powder to smokeless powder in our cartridges. By making that switch, though, that means that the bullets are moving at much faster rates and higher pressure, and older designs like the 1876 or 1873 Winchesters could not be updated to take the modern loads. The 1886 could, which is why these were produced all the way up until 1935. This had a longevity that you did not see from some of the various other designs in the same era. So that's one of the reasons why this kind of has this enduring legacy. It also is the rifle that put John Moses Browning on the map. Now, it would not be his probably most famous design. You probably think of the M2 Browning, the Modus, or maybe the Browning Auto 5. He certainly has many to choose from, as well as many of the cartridges that he invented to choose from as well. So while this may not be his best known, it was his first successful selling of a patent to a major firearms manufacturer. And him and Winchester would go on to have quite the legacy together, followed up with the 1887 shotgun, which is the lever shotgun that you see in like Terminator 2, for instance. And of course, he would refine this design for Winchester up until he leaves the company and works for the Belgians at FN. But when it comes to the differences between these two rifles, this is the two commercial options that you would typically see. Now, in terms of the differences between these two rifles, we're going to take a look at why they were different commercially. I'm just going to slide this down right here. This one right here, this one's from 1888, so it is just a couple years after being designed. This is a more typical Wild West gun, as you would see, with the long tube that goes all the way to the end of the barrel. Thick bull barrel here. Like I said, this is in 3856. Winchester has that smooth design that we would come to expect from Winchester. Now, while this is the gun specifically that would rule the West, a little bit later, people were looking for what we would call sporting models, which is where you would see some differences. Now, the sporting models of guns was designed for increased accuracy at greater distances and a little bit more adjustments to be made on the sights. So what they did was they rechambered this into 33 Winchester, and this one features this adjustable sight here. Now, this adjustable sight, you can move up and down to increase your distance. And once this was added, and this was done from the factory, they put a little nub right here to just cover up where the rear sight aperture would normally be on the Winchester 1886. Now, unfortunately, this one is chromed. Someone did chrome this and replace the rear end buttstock. That is true. It's always a tragedy when guns are not in their original form, but at least we get to see two different models, or I guess two different ways that these guns were marketed. It's nice to have them both here together. Now, when it comes to what would these guns be used for, I mean, the truth is it was almost limitless who would use these guns and why. Pause in the video, guys, to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Patriot Mobile. Now, I've personally been a member of Patriot Mobile for several years now. Everyone is using a cell phone these days. So the question is, why not support someone who supports you, who stands up for the rights that you and I hold dear? And Patriot Mobile puts their money where their mouth is by donating a portion of every dollar they make to the causes that you and I hold dear. They use the same 5G networks that every other major provider uses. You're not sacrificing service. You're supporting a company that will support you. They're going to give our listeners a special discount. Using the code SHALLNOT and clicking the link down below, you will get a free month when you switch to Patriot Mobile. With that, let's get back to the video. Now, when it comes to who was using these guns, the truth is that list was basically endless. The Winchester 1886 had a myriad of people who love to use it. Hunters, of course. They love the big bore caliber for, your elk, your bear, your buffalo, some of those larger game animals. But also you saw frontiersmen. Yes, you saw Native Americans, and of course you saw lawmen. One of the reasons why is with the bigger bore, obviously more stopping power. Yes, you got a little bit more distance with the larger powder loads behind it, so you could reach out and touch somebody a little bit farther away. The usage of these rifles existed really honestly to this day. The customer that put this one on display for us actually uses it to hunt. So this is something that is still used to this day. Getting 3856 Winchester centerfire rounds is not as easy as it once was, but if you're a reloader, there's a large reloading market for these kind of older Winchester cartridges. We would know this particular rifle with the famous 4570 government round, the round that almost eliminated the buffalo from this planet. The 1886 had a lot to do with that. So us here in Minnesota used to be on the Great Plains, just like South Dakota. We're seeing South Dakota reintroduce buffalo into the wild at that Custard Park out there. And the reason why we're having to reintroduce it is because of rifles like this that almost hunted them to extinction. It made shooting buffalo so easy that people would just do it and take it for the hides without any care to conservation or survival of a species, unfortunately. Now, luckily, we have conservationists today that are reintroducing the buffalo and allowing future generations to enjoy the beauty of that animal. But the 1886 did serve a large role in conquering the West, making this nation go from sea to shining sea. Now, of course, Winchester would update that, and we will get into some of the updates, like the 1892. There's the 1895, and then, of course, the 1894 that we still use to this day. It is a very popular Winchester lever gun, but the 1886 is what kind of set all this up for a future success. So again, if you have the opportunity to pick one of these up, absolutely do so. We have these kind of often actually in our store, available to everyone to see, touch. If you ever have an opportunity to pick one of these up, you absolutely should do so. These are excellent shooters, and a lot of the calibers that these things were chambered in are still around to this day. If they're not, there are reloaders and stuff out there where you can get, say, the 3856, but there are people out there that still make black powder loads. For instance, this is a black powder gun that would allow you to shoot this even in the modern era. Now, I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, and keep checking in. We got a lot of videos coming your way. We got a lot of stuff from the vault that's been kind of building up in the background, and I do apologize for the delay on getting some of these videos out, just because it gets really busy here, and you know, you're looking at a one-man show when it comes to a lot of this stuff. So I do my best, and I will continue to try to do my best to get you more videos. Till the next one, guys. We'll see you then.